Well, welcome back to Soda City Live. If you ever find yourself slouching or have rounded shoulders, chances are you probably don't have the best posture, hence me. Our favorite fitness guru, James Patrick, joins us for Be Well Wednesday today to share some tips and workouts to help us to correct our poor posture. So we're so glad to have you joining us, as always.
So glad to be here to talk about poor posture on a good Wednesday. You know, it's so normalized to, have a seat, slouch your shoulders, relax your core, and those are actually the total opposites of what I want you to do when you're sitting down and when you're just present with your body. So what I'm going to do is demonstrate some chair exercises that are in the form of stretching.
Okay.
And we're going to have you represent the everyday person who comes to work, wears really cute clothing, and that's not necessarily appropriate for stretching. But we're going to use this chair as our prop. The first thing we're going to do, we're going to extend our leg forward and we're going to cross this leg over. Now, while we're doing this, real quick, we know the benefits of stretching are, of course, less achiness, less inflammation. But if you have anxiety, it actually helps calm your anxiety. So what we're going to do as you're doing these movements, Sierra, I want you to I want you just breathing through the nose. And I'm going to give you a better stretch that makes you look even cuter. I'm going to have you step behind the chair, and that way you're going to cross the leg over.
Okay.
And you can still get a little stretch. Now, what we're doing is stretching through the glutes. There are three muscles in your butt, the gluteus medius, maximus, and minimus. And so those muscles collectively help us to stay upright and erect. But if they're tight, we can't walk like we're supposed to. It messes up our hip gait. Now, you may feel a stretch right there. And as you kind of sit in, I want you to inhale through the nose and exhale it in the mouth.
Now, while I'm doing this, I want to ask the question. So what are some things that can happen if you continue the habit of slouching and sitting incorrectly?
Oh, I hate to tell you, but they're not good. So some of those issues actually can create migraines, residual inflammation in the neck and the shoulders. You're going to have a lot of disproportion in the spine. And all that translates into you having achy back and achy low back. Your butt's going to be hurting. You're going to be cranky. And nobody wants to be cranky when they're at work.
No.
Nobody wants to be cranky. So another move we're going to go into is going to be a calf stretch. And if your chair is high enough, or if you happen to be sitting next to your child's high chair, you can use this and you can stretch through the calves or the gastrocnemius muscle. Now, you may not know this, but there is actually another muscle underneath your calf called your soleus, and that muscle is responsible for a lot of the plantar flexion that goes on. So we're going to stretch through here. I want you to kind of reach for the tongue of your shoe and give me a deep breath in. Good job. If you can't breathe through these stretches, then you're probably putting a little bit too much emphasis, too much force into the stretch. One more stretch I want to go into is going to be another seated stretch, and this actually has to do with contralateral rotation. If you don't mind, I'm going to scooch my chair up front. All right, and you're going to basically twist. You're going to grab one hand here, and I want you to place one hand right here, and you're twisting in the opposing direction. So for those of you that have seen, hot bods before, you've seen those V cuts. That's called your obliques. Those are your external obliques. Our external obliques are here. Internal obliques are going to be in the back. This contralateral rotation really helps with loosening up the external and internal obliques. And what you may not know, Sierra, is that the internal external obliques are also responsible for making sure that you sit upright as well. So when they get tight, you're going to be walking around looking just like this, okay? And if you know anybody that looks like that, please have them call me as soon as possible.
Oh, yeah. So let's talk about ways we should be sitting. So we're in a high chair right now.
Yes.
What are some ways, because we're not able to place our feet on the floor, what are some ways we can protect our back when we're sitting in a high chair?
So first off, I have to tell you that as much as these are as popular as these are in restaurants, they're not necessarily the most functional thing. I mean, we've come a long ways to come back to adulthood to have to swing our legs, right? But the first thing you want to do is make sure that you're sitting against the back, or at least making sure that your low back is touching the chair, okay? So some chairs kind of slant as they go up, making sure that you're sitting upright. Now, how do you know you're sitting upright? You pull your chest forward just a little bit, not a lot of emphasis. Relax the shoulders, okay? Take a deep breath and just drop the shoulders. Nice job. Now pull your chest forward, and that's going to neutralize the spine. and that's going to help you to stay upright. Now, one thing you may not be doing while you're sitting down is pulling your belly button into your spine, which is how we engage the core as we sit down. That's how we avoid having achy low back when we're sitting on hard high tops.
Now, I will say this. When you said to make sure your lower back is on the back of the chair, I never felt it. And then I looked at myself in the camera. I said, well, I am sitting up straight, because even when because I have horrible posture, I know it. I'm working on it. I know some people may have noticed, but I'm working on it. And sometimes I think I'm sitting up straight, but I'm actually not. So for a person like me, maybe you don't have a back of a chair to depend on. How do you, again, make sure that you're sitting upright?
So I call these things your preliminaries. I teach my clients this on a regular basis. And your preliminaries typically start from the feet up. In this case, they're going to start from the core up. And our core starts right here at the rib cage and goes all the way to the hips. So consider your glutes as part of your core. So one thing you want to do is make sure that your hips are square. So you're not sitting with your legs crossed. This is also really bad for the low back. I'm sorry, it's elegant as all get out, but it hurts the low back. So first, making sure that your hips are square, making sure that the belly button is pulled into the spine. That's going to automatically promote you to not want to do this. So and also making sure that you're breathing through the nose, out through the mouth periodically. That really puts you back into a place of mindfulness with your body.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, James, thank you so much as always for sharing these amazing tips for us. Perfect posture, do not slum. I remember that from singing in school. All right, but we'll put these tips along with a detailed description of these workouts on our website, SodaCityLive.com. Again, James Patrick, thank you so much. How can our viewers get in touch with you?
Absolutely. JP Fitness Guru on Facebook, Aspire_Wellness_Cola on Instagram.
Awesome. Well, we'll take a quick break. We'll be right back after this.